Writers of Justice is a 2020 action war black comedy drama film written and directed by Anders Thomas Jensen. Marcus returns home to care for his daughter when his wife dies in a tragic car accident. However, when a survivor of the wreck surfaces and claims a foul play, Marcus suspects his wife was murdered and embarks on a mission to find those responsible. Seeing this film and seeing the trailer to this film, well, I've seen the trailer first. That's what kind of got me on the ropes of trying to check this film out. And I absolutely loved it. I thought it was very, very good. And I recommend everybody to see it. But before you take my word for it, I need to warn those who seen this trailer and kind of mistook it as a John Wick ripoff or just trying to be an enabled clone of John Wick. Let me tell you something about the Writers of Justice. It's nothing like John Wick. Now, when it comes to the fighting, when it comes to the gunplay, you get that here, but it's more focused on the drama and the personal loss of the character Marcus. His personal loss is going to hit you hard. It will. In fact, by him being a war veteran and him having experience in the Army for so long, when he finds out that his wife has been killed in a tragic train accident, he doesn't really mourn about it, but he is bothered by the fact that he wasn't able to see his wife. In fact, he feels regret and blame. There was a scene on the film where when he gets the news and on his way back to see his wife, he's in a plane by himself and he just sits there just thinking and thinking. And by me being a mental therapist, there are different ways to show sorrow and to show guilt other than just breaking down and just saying that it's your fault. Sometimes you can tell by the way how a person looks and how they are interacting with people when it comes to them being in the brink of silence. And the character who has played Marcus, Mads Mikkelsen, no one could have done a better job than him. The way how he plays Marcus' character, even when he just sits there and he just stands alone and he just doesn't, like, he refuses to think about his wife's death. He refuses to let it gravitate to him. He even tries to tell his daughter that his, like your mother is dead and gone. Like, we don't want to dwell on the past. We don't want to rebuild. We want to try to look forward and try to find ways to not letting this happen to each other. Don't mourn over the death. Learn from it. His character is very, very well crafted, very well done. And I love his character. Every time I see him, he doesn't say much in the film. He doesn't really talk that much, but every time he talks, it's out of aggression. Every time he acts, it's out of aggression. And it's the way how he does it, it pulls you in. They don't really show you the remark actions of how he was when he was a war veteran, but on his way home, the way how he acts in camera is very well crafted. And that's the difference between John Wick and Writers of Justice. As in John Wick, when his dog gets killed, he goes out in the murderer's rampage, but he doesn't really mourn that much of the dog for us to really gravitate to it, other than the fact that it was a defenseless dog and it's just a bloodbath. But with Writers of Justice, it wanted us to be more in depth with the characters that was drawn into the film. Now, as for the other characters, we had Mathilde, which is his daughter, that is played by Adria Gaidberg. She did great. She did good for what was given to her. I did not mind the character development with her. She mourned pretty understandable when it comes to the loss of her mother, because people are going to mourn differently. I just kind of wished that by her trying to investigate the death of her mom, I wish she could have just showed her father the stuff that she gathered instead of keeping it to herself. I know that they had like a pretty distant relationship due to the father not being there that much, but by personal loss, that's when you would want to try to stick together. You know what I'm saying? that was the only issue with her. Other than that, everything about her was pretty good. I didn't really have no issues with her at all. Now, later on in the film, Marcus does not find out that the death of his wife was foul play until a survivor from the train wreck comes up to his house and he tells him the situation. And that is Otto. He is a survivor of the train wreck that is played by Nikolai Lee Kaz or Kuaz. No, Kaz. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. He made the film for me partially. I loved his character. He is basically the dramatic aspect of the film. When he finds out that this is foul play, now it could have been anybody that he could have reached out to try to help investigate. He first went to the cops to try to tell them, hey, look, like there's some fishy things going on. I don't want to spoil the film, but he realized by him being in the train and by him witnessing what happened in the wreck, he was trying to tell the cops, like, hey, look, I've witnessed some fucked up shit, and I think you guys should investigate. And the cops don't want to have anything to do with it. They kind of want to just turn a blind eye and just say, like, look, we'll get to the bottom of it. But he kind of felt the bullshit that they was giving him. So he went to Marcus' house because before the wreck occurred, he was sitting down, and Marcus' wife was looking for a seat, and he was kind enough to give her his seat. And as she sat down, that was when the crash occurred, and the crash basically basically affected the seat that she was in, causing her to get killed. And he felt guilty about that, and he expresses it throughout the whole film. In fact, when he reaches out to Marcus and tells him the situation, he doesn't even know that Marcus is a war veteran. So Marcus tells him, hey, look, did you tell the police about this? Did you try to see if they was going to try to do anything about it? And he tells him they didn't want to have anything to do with it, so I guess we're on our own. So that was when Marcus tried to take matters in his own hands. He commits murder, and he kills countless of enemies. And Otto begins to... I get the names confused. I'm sorry about that. But Otto, which is Nikolai's character, he begins to feel guilt. He begins to feel as if, maybe there's no need for this bloodshed. There's no need for us to be killing these people. Let's just take them to justice. But Marcus kept telling him, you told me that the cops don't want to do anything. So now, since our hands are dirty, we're basically on this on our own. So then that's when Otto begins to feel as if, you know what, I've done this. I like, all these killings is in my hands. And I liked his character. His character is very realistic, and it's pretty relatable in some aspects when it comes to you not trying to go by law's hands, but try to go to the hands of your own. And these are part of the consequences that's going to occur when you make these actions. Now, they can't find out who's responsible without digging some hard evidence and information illegally, and that is Lennart. Lennart, that is played by Lars Bregman, and he was the funny person in the film. He would crack jokes. He would always try to break the fourth wall, try to break the ice. I like his character the most. In fact, he probably might be one of my favorite characters in this film. There are times when things are serious. There are times when I broke down crying, because there are times where Marcus would just break down, and he would just, express his emotions towards not just people, but just towards himself. There are times when he bangs his head in the glass, and you would that's because it's containing stress, it's containing hatred. And then with Lennart, Lennart is basically the person who would uplift the audience of the film. There was one time where they was busy talking about how they're going to kill the people that's responsible in this train wreck, how things are going to get done. And Lennart just basically just says, well, how about we kill one of them and play it as an accident, and then when they come to a funeral, we just go and kill the rest of them. As stupid as that sounds, that might actually work, but they just looked at them and just kept on getting their guns ready. I thought people like this in this type of film that has a lot of dramatic sequences and a lot of death and destruction, people like this would be the oddballs of the film, be like, I don't think he's gonna, I wish he would stop talking. But no, Lennart, he is annoying at times, but he is necessary annoying. And with movies like like this, it needs to be realistic. I don't want a full cast of people that will be perfect on a straight line of the script. You're gonna have. I want people to necessarily be a disaster to the point where it is creatively done, and Leonard did it perfectly. I loved his character. His character, actually, I loved them all because they all played a good part of the film. Now, this other character, he is a hacker. I'm having a hard time pronouncing his name. His name is Emethaler. I probably said it right. Emethaler. I'm gonna say Emethaler. Emethaler, that is played by Nicholas Bro. He is basically the hacker. He is an overweight hacker, like myself. He is an overweight hacker who basically looks at facial identities, try to get like gadgets situated, and tries to figure out the locations of where people are located. As a Leonard, he looks at he digs up information, but with Emethaler, I gotta try to remember this. Emethaler, he just tracks down locations. He tracks down whether what their angle and what their location is going to be. And his character, he is the person who wants to push himself to try to be like Marcus. He tells Marcus, look, even though we have our own ways to help you fulfill your revenge, we want to play a part too, because these people have a history of killing others. So Marcus just looks at him and he tells him, so you want to kill too? And Mathala just says, yes, I want to commit. I want to help you take these people by taking them to the afterlife in our ways of justice. So Marcus puts him to the ultimate test. And what I like about this film is that you pull a trigger. In most films, they don't really grieve about it for the first time. They just go on and they just go to the next scene. But with Emethaler, he goes to gun training with everybody else, with Leonard and with Otto, and they busy just training and trying to get their guns, get all the parts together. And when it's time for them to go out and commit their first run of trying to kill the people that's responsible, well, not all of them, but just certain people that was connected. There was one person that Marcus had shot up, but not all the way to the point where they were dead. He wanted Emethaler, the person that was speaking about trying to kill all the people with him, to finish the job. So when the guy was all wounded up and bleeding out, he looked at Emethaler, and Emethaler started breaking down. He ended up having an epiphany, and Marcus just shot him right in the head. Not Emethaler, but the enemy. He didn't shoot Emethaler, but on the way back to the lookout, he just started just breaking down, and he was telling him, "Look, I'm sorry. I did not know this is doing this would be this devastating." And Marcus told him, "Look, doing this for the first time is going to be the worst time ever, and the worst thing more than that is getting used to it." That's why I love his character, because by looking at his character, you can feel the gravitation and the weight of the shit that he goes through, not just by the personal loss of his wife, but by the same time trying to be there for his daughter, trying to be the best father possible. But even that is a little corrupted, because he is teaching the daughter the wrong things of not just getting over it, but giving her false beliefs, saying that God doesn't exist. Your mother is dead and she is nothing at this point. And even though he is aware of what he's saying, but it's because of what he's went through, he has lost his faith in God. And that's where Otto comes in, because Otto is trying to influence him to try to tell him, hey, look, even though this is how you feel, this is not the right way to go. You're making her feel as if even she doesn't matter. You need to be a better father by showing her the way to try to live life in the best way possible. It's not about you anymore, especially now since your wife has passed away. This movie is very dramatic. It touched me in a way, not just by gunplay, but by the survival aspect of these characters. I'm talking more about the characters than I'm talking about the action. And it's surprising in this film. But is it really? No. It's like I said, it's not like John Wick. So when people watch the trailer and think about John Wick, it's no John Wick. This is its own film and its own potential. And when it comes to the dramatic aspects, it beat John Wick. You can put 3 other John Wick films on all this film, and it's Riders of Justice still beat it when it comes to their character development. I'm sorry for the John Wick faithful, but if you want to have a better icing on the cake, it takes a while for the action to get there with Riders of Justice. It takes a long while, but you have to stick with it because it gives us filled up with the character development, and they do it perfectly on this one. All lives matter in this film. All lives matter. So there's no character that is a throwaway filler character. Just they can be extra meat for bad guys to make an example out of. No, every single character on this film you actually give a fuck about. So when shit starts happening, you get afraid who's gonna take those bullets, who's gonna get killed off. And the ending is so great. I love the ending of this film. Probably one of the best endings I've seen in the film this year. I recommend people that is watching this review, to watch Riders of Justice. This movie well deserves your views and your criticisms as well. I'm going to have to give Riders of Justice an A. Could have given it an A+, but like I said, it suffers certain little aspects of the film. Only one, basically, when it comes to the daughter's aspect of her gathering information and not showing the father because of their distancy situations. I wish he could have just put that situation aside and just told him what the fuck was going on and what she was doing in her room. Now, it all goes back to my other review of what movie did I review before this one? I can't remember, but oh yeah, Color Out of Space. And the reason I'm comparing it is because when it comes to films that has the main characters that have children, they are normally there to fuck up the plot angle, to make the movie expand so the characters can go through more shit. I'm not saying she did that, but she has withheld the information to make the movie plot angle connect in a more faster pace, so it wouldn't drag quickly. So it wouldn't drag that much for the other viewers that's watching it. I did not mind the film taking its time to get there because it was well warranted. But my tolerance may not be the same as yours. You may be bored watching this film. That's another reason why I didn't give it an A+, because this film is not for everybody. Even if I tell people that are into John Wick and they watch the trailer and they think it's going to be a John Wick adaptation, it is not, and you still may not be satisfied. So this movie is not for everybody, but I still recommend you people to watch it and to support it. I wasted too much time anyway. That's it. That's all I have for today. Please stay tuned for more of my reviews and videos coming your way. This is your critic teacher, and you guys have a good day.